Hello, welcome to my Java programming course. Today, we have our first lesson where we will talk about an important topic, variable types in programming, and write a few examples. If we want our code to work, we need to write the main method of the program, which I am about to enter. The main method of the program should always be exactly as I am entering it. And we'll start with integer types. The first one is the int type, which is used more frequently in programming than any other type. So, I will provide an example of declaring a variable of this type, give it a name, and assign it the integer value 18. Remember, we cannot assign values of one type to variables of another type. For example, we cannot assign a text value to an integer or any other type. Now, let's print the integer value to the console using system.out.println, and within the parentheses, we will write the name of our variable. This command will output the number on a new line in the console. Let's see what we will get. We obtained the number 18 in the output. Now let's use another integer type, long, which is similar to int but has a larger storage capacity for numbers than int. When we assign values to this type, we will get integer values just like with int. Let's check. Yes, we got 198 in the output. I will write a few more variables of type int for performing an addition operation. I will demonstrate this by printing the result to the console using the command you are already familiar with. Let's check. As you can see, we obtained the result of adding two integer variables, the sum of which is 23. Now, let's replace the integer type int with another type that has a larger storage capacity, long, and verify that we get the same result as we did with the previous type. And, as we can see, we obtained the same integer result. So, remember, we most often use the int type in programming, but if we need to store a very large number in an integer variable, then we should use the long type. Now let's talk about non-integer variables. The most commonly used type is double because it can store larger numbers than other types. I will create a few variables of this type for height and width, assign them non-integer values, and add these two variables together in another variable to determine the sum. Then, I will print the result directly to the console. As a result, we obtained the sum of the variables as a non-integer number, which is what we expected. Now let's use another type that is also non-integer, which is float. It is similar to double, but it can store smaller numbers, so it is used less frequently in practice than double. Additionally, to ensure everything works correctly with this type, we need to append a capital F to the number assigned to the variable, indicating that the type is non-integer, and this is another reason why it is not used as often. By changing the type of our previous variables, we see that the result is the same as it was with the previous type. Now let's move on to text types. One of the most commonly used types is string. It is great for use because we can store an entire line of text or even more in a variable of this type. Let's print our stored word hello from the test variable to the console. Another text type is char. However, with this type, we cannot store a lot of text as we could with the previous type. We can only assign a single character and nothing more. Therefore, it is also not very convenient to use in practice. Now that we have learned about the important variable types in Java, let's write a simple example code using these data types. Now, having created all the previous variables, I will nicely print the information to the console using /n, which instructs the compiler to move the text following this character to the next line. Alternatively, you could use additional system.out statements for each subsequent variable, but this clutters the code, so it's better to use this key symbol to move to the next line. In the console, we receive the information about the person in a nicely formatted manner. Another important type in Java is Boolean. This type can only take the values true or false. It is best used when you need to indicate one of two possible answers. For example, let's create a variable and assign it the value false. In the print statement, we will write the question "Is it cold today?" and print our declared variable next to this question. Let's also create another variable following the previous pattern and run our code for execution. Well, today we covered the topic of variable types in Java and made a few simple examples. For your homework, try to repeat the examples we wrote today and attempt to write your own example using different variable types. Thank you for your attention, and see you in the next lessons.